You don't want to sit down? Flip your name things.
This is what it feels like.
I can't breathe. Can you all see the live stream now?
I'm going to check it right now. I do see it.
Thank you, Councilman Marr. It's 6 p.m. on Tuesday, August 17th, 2021, and I hereby call this regularly scheduled meeting of the City Council to order. Could you please bow your heads for invocation by Councilman Clark?
Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you thanking you for all you have given us. We ask that you continue to bless us, our families, and our loved ones. We also ask that you intervene for us in this wave of the pandemic. There are many people that are dying every day around the world, and we don't always understand the whats and whys of this, but you do. We ask for the strength to get through this and to help us, our friends, and our neighbors to overcome their sicknesses and losses. We also ask for your hand to shield us from the storms as they approach us this hurricane season. Let our homes and properties be spared from any destruction. And tonight, as we represent our city, let us make the right decisions that will help us lead us into the greater development of Diamondhead and promote it as being one of the best places to live. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. City Clerk, Ms. Jeannie Klein.
Mayor DePrio.
Here.
Councilmember Finley.
Here.
Councilmember Moran.
Here.
Councilmember Shepherd. Councilmember Clark.
Here.
Councilmember Marr.
Here.
And I know some of you are probably going, who's on the phone? So it's Councilman Marr and Councilman Finley that are on the phone tonight. So you'll hear double voices there.
And so while it does not appear so, we do have a quorum. We have
do
five
have
of
a
our
quorum.
6 members.
We do. We have 5 out of the 6. Could I get someone to move to confirm the agenda?
Move.
Motion made by Councilman Clark. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Moran. Roll call, Ms. Jeannie Klein.
Finley.
Yes.
Moran.
Yes.
Shepherd. Sorry. Clark.
Yes.
Marr.
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes. The next regularly scheduled meeting of the City Council will be held on September 7, 2021 in the City Council chambers located here at 5000 Diamondhead Circle. The proposed FY22 budget will be considered for adoption at the September 7, 2021 regularly scheduled meeting. City Manager's report.
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Michael Russo.
Our Paddle Paradise event is scheduled for Saturday, September 25th at the Diamondhead Marina. Early registration is available online at the city's website under that page event. There are sponsorship opportunities for local businesses that would like to put their name on the back of the t-shirt for $50. Everyone is invited to participate. It is a free event to the public, and the first 100 people get a free t-shirt and a goodie bag. Aloha Diamondhead is scheduled for this Saturday from 4 to 7 p.m. As part of the farmers market, there will be live music, and everyone's welcome to come enjoy the market. Music and local restaurants is a great way to shop locally and dine with some of our local businesses. For land purchase on the agenda, I'm asking for authorization to purchase a parcel of land from Elliott Homes. This parcel is located on the low end of a cul-de-sac. The street drops about 50 feet in elevation, and all the storm water from that street basically flows through that parcel and the one next to it. Elliott Home purchased the parcel from the POA and is willing to sell it back to the city, basically at their cost. We did appraise it. The fair market value came in at $10,000, so we're getting it for under appraised value. We are working on looking at many other parcels throughout the city to basically designate it permanent green space for drainage because they're wet. We don't want people building on it. Hilo Street drainage. Pickering engineers completed their review and construction plans for the Hilo Street drainage project. The next step is to advertise for bids for this project. That's on the agenda tonight. This basically is a failed culvert that passes under Hilo Street and between two houses. So you're seeing some sinkholes and some other things. So we'd like to bid that project. Dog Park Grant, I'm asking for authorization to apply for a $25,000 grant with the Gulf Coast Community Foundation to help us build the dog park. Debris monitoring, we've received one RFQ for debris monitoring. That was from a firm called Tetra Tech, who the city previously used during Hurricane Zeta. The city was extremely happy with their work and are happy to recommend that approval tonight to the council. Their representatives are here tonight. This will prearrange our debris monitoring in the event of a storm. We received 8 RFQs for debris haulers. We'll be reviewing those with the help of Rostan as well as Tetra Tech over the next 2 weeks, and we plan to make a recommendation to the council for a prearranged contract at our next council meeting. We will be the only city in the county that actually has prearranged contracts for emergency operations, so congratulations. Ditch digging, our crews have been busy digging ditches, and we continue to get new requests each day. As of today, we've called 811 for ditch digging, which will take us about 2 weeks worth of digging. In addition, we have a backlog of requests that are in our computer system for about another 2 weeks of digging. So as of today, we really have 4 weeks on our plate, and those requests continue to come in, and we're just working them basically as they're received. So if someone calls in today, it's probably going to be 4 weeks before we get to them. Debris pickup on the side of roads. As part of our contract with Waste Management, the contractor will pick up bulky waste from your home during the regular weekly scheduled pickup. Shrubbery must be cut into 4-foot sections and bundled or put into a bag, box, or can. Contractors doing any work at your home, including landscaping or remodeling, are required to remove this trash and not leave it on the side of the road. As a courtesy, our public works staff has previously picked up some piles of shrubbery to help our residents. At present, we are not in a position to do that since our staff and equipment is being used for ditch digging every day. Given the workload of the drainage projects, our crews are focused 100% on projects that are reducing flooding, which means this courtesy trash pickup will be greatly delayed by our crews. Residents are encouraged to put their trash in bags, cans, boxes, and be picked up by Waste Management. In addition, residents can bring up to 10 cubic yards to the dump King landfill for free every month. A fill policy. As of August 20th, which is Friday, builders will not be able to put any fill dirt in the rear or side setbacks or easements of a parcel when building a new home. This will require many builders to use pilings or chain walls and to use less fill dirt on that parcel. Recently, the building department has had to put stop work orders on several builders that have just put excessive amounts of fill dirt on the parcel until an acceptable plan can be submitted. Side yard setback. The Planning and Zoning Commission has started the process to amend the zoning ordinance for side yard setbacks in an R2 zoning district from 8 feet back to 10 feet. The public hearing for the Planning and Zoning is scheduled for August 24 for this consideration. The building official feels that having a larger setback provides additional green space for drainage. This is how it was for many years in Diamondhead. The city changed it a few years back to be more in line with other cities, but in our opinion, it's just kind of negatively impact us for drainage. I do have a report for all of the projects. I'm going to wait until our next meeting to go over that with y'all when we have everybody present.
Is there any questions from a city manager to my left? Any questions to my right? Councilman Finley?
No, ma'am.
Councilman Marr? Councilman Marr?
No, ma'am.
Thank you.
I have a little audio problem because the live stream audio is about 25 seconds behind the phone audio.
All right, it's probably best to listen then on your phone so you can hear it. You can hear it well, though? There's no interference with the sound?
No interference.
Thank you, Councilman Marr. With no further questions for the city manager, we will move on to public comments. City Clerk, is there anyone that has signed up to address for public comments on an agenda?
item, Tyler Robinson, and it's Deer Crossing final plat, so it's an action item, so I'm not sure if you want to wait and hold that at that time or have it now.
We can wait till we get to that item. Or do y'all want to come up now? Okay, all right, thank you. With that being said, we're going to move on to our FY22 proposed budget presentation, and we are going to open the public hearing at this moment. And we're turning it over to our city manager.
This is the fun part of the year. Welcome. We're doing our public hearing for our FY22 proposed budget. We've had multiple workshops and advertising to get to this point, which is required by law. So I'm going to kind of take it through. There's about 48 slides. Some I'll be able to click through quick, and others we'll see a little bit more detail. We will print this out and have it as part of a packet that'll be available through the city clerk in our minutes. Obviously, we want to thank our elected officials who've gotten us here, and probably the most important job of our elected officials is managing the budget. So we definitely want to recognize them and appreciate their work. So what is a budget? It's basically a city's annual budget is a plan to project estimated revenues and expenses based on historical data, where we've been, and also the future needs of the city and the goals that best serve our residents. I always like to note right here is just because something's budgeted doesn't mean it's automatic. Major expenditures that are outlined in a budget must be approved individually by the council at a future date. I cover my mission statement as your city manager, just to have a city where people want to buy houses and open businesses. My areas of focus is, number one, having a safe community, a pretty community, having a community that has outstanding amenities, and those are generally the three things that you think about when you think of Diamondhead, but also an active community. Commercial development is a focus for us right now, and then finally just making sure we're efficient in providing public services. So if you remember, for FY21, this council reduced millage from 34 to 29.5. That was a good way of this council taking action to say, let's spend less money, let's tax people less, but offer the same services. For FY22, our budgeted expenditures is right at $18 million. If you look from last year to this year, our general fund, you'll notice a reduction from basically $7 million to $5 million. That kind of jumps out at me. But that's about $2 million worth of FEMA reimbursable expenses from ZETA that we have budgeted for this year to eventually get that back. So there's a spike in revenues, and then we'll fall back to our general fund in the $5 million range for FY22. So total revenues, again, has increased from $11 million to $15 million. A big chunk of that is additional grant monies and federal funds that will be coming into the city. There's another $2 million that's budgeted from the Board of Supervisors that have committed to match us for drainage work. So you see a little spike in revenues. We don't expect that to be continuing year to year. Our total expenditures went from $12 million to $18 million. Again, a lot of that's driven off of projects and grant funds that will be coming in or expected to come in FY22. If we look at cash balance, we're expected to begin the year with $5.1 million in our bank accounts, and then finishing the year with $2.7 million. Again, a lot of that's dealing with cash from grants and other monies coming into the city. For our revenues, taxation is necessary, obviously, to meet the annual operating expenses of the city. Our millage is 29.5 mils for FY22. There's no change from FY21 to 22 with that mill rate. The estimated total assessed value in Diamondhead for this year is $101 million compared to last year at $94 million. So we can see by having more growth and just property value increasing that we're seeing total assessed values increase. One mill will generate an estimated $99,000 to our general fund. That's a slight increase over last year's $93,000. Sales tax projections for next year is $792,000. We've actually decreased that a little bit by $16,000. Last year, I say FY right now, this current year, we've seen a spike, I'm going to call it, an unusual increase with sales tax diversion, mainly because of COVID. So a lot of people were shopping at Rouse's. You've probably seen some sales, True Value, compared to going to Lowe's or compared to going to Walmart. So we don't know if that trend is going to continue or not. But we're seeing that increase, so we kind of want to just be conservative in that number. If we break down our revenues for FY22, again, total revenue of $15 million. Unrestricted general fund, it represents about 35% of that, which is $5.1 million. Grants are expected to bring in 43%, which is $6.6 million. The Mississippi Infrastructure Fund is 2%. That's basically an internet sales tax that has to be used for infrastructure projects such as roads, bridges, sewer, and water. That's $240,000. Originally, we were expected to reach $175,000 when that first came out a few years back. We've obviously surpassed it. The American Rescue and Recovery Fund represents 19%, and we expect $3 million from that. That is including what we expect, the $2 million from the Board of Supervisors to go into that fund where the drainage projects will be made of. So we're going to get right at just under $2 million from the feds this year and next year, plus the $2 million from the Board of Supervisors. And our solid waste fee represents 3% at $500,000. I'm not going to cover each department. We'll go by one with that. But you can see the general fund makes up $6.3 million in expenses of that total budget of $18 million. Our grants, again, is $6 million. We expect or planning to receive $80,000 from Gulf Coast, the GRPC for Montjoy Creek, which is a multimodal lane along the creek. Tidelands for Montjoy Creek, erosion improvements and public access is $572,000. MDA for East Aloha improvements is $150,000. GRPC for East Aloha improvements, which is sidewalks, $489,000. The Gulf Coast Restoration Fund coming from MDA of $3.5 million. Tidelands for FY21 is the Noma Drive public access at $800,000, and Go Mesa for erosion drainage is $495,000. You can see $6 million of new money flowing into the city from grants. Our expenditures is 6.9. I won't go through each one. The expenditures are obviously higher than the revenues because many of these grants have local matching funds, so we have to put our own money in there, so we'll spend generally another 20%. To detail the solid waste fee, that's again our garbage pickup. We are projected to bring in $534,000. We collect $142 from each household to help pay for the garbage bill. And you can see that's broken down by month for collection, the cart rental, the bulky waste, $10 a month basically in current. We expect to finish with an ending balance or an ending cash balance in that fund of $146,000. If we look at our general fund revenues, so the majority of our general fund comes from ad valorem. So think of your property taxes, your car tags. License and permits is 3%. Sales tax represents 16%. Franchise charges is 6%. A franchise charge, by the way, is somebody like Coast Electric, AT&T, C-Spire that are using our easements and utility easements to run their wires. They kick back a little bit to the city to have to deal with them. Homestead reimbursements is 5%. Fines and forfeitures 1%. Roads and bridge 4%. And other interlocal right at 5%. So some of the notes for our budget as we kind of go in, there was a 0% salary increase for employees in this budget. However, we did add the second incentive payment to employees that we started in FY21. We could only start it with one incentive payment. So this year we add the second. So that's November and May. The employees are eligible, if based on performance, to earn an extra $250 twice a year. We also went with 10% increase for property and casualty insurance and liability insurance, as well as health insurance, just to be conservative. So let's talk about legislative. So that's our city council. It's the mayor and city council is the governing body of the city. The mayor and council are elected for 4-year terms. We just went through an election cycle. The mayor and council perform the legislative duties of the city while the administration is assigned to the city manager. Their budget is just under 1%. That's $60,000. There's no change in salaries for the mayor and council. Our mayor is set to make $15,000, the council $5,000. I will note that the mayor has deferred some of her salary into special charities, so what she actually receives is less than $15,000. That's been done in the budget, but just want to show those kind of what, by ordinance, it's kind of what those numbers are. It also includes travel and training, such as MML conferences or trips to DC, computers, and other expenses. The judicial is our court, so they're responsible for the fines and costs imposed by the court, responsible for preserving and maintaining records of the court, and is the liaison between the judge and the public. Their budget is right at 1% at $198,000. That includes 6 employees, which is a court clerk, a deputy court clerk, a judge that is part-time, a prosecutor who's contracted, an assistant prosecutor who's contracted, and a public defender who is contracted. Under administration, basically we're responsible for the daily operations of the city, which are then departmentalized for direction. That's your city manager's office, the office of city clerk, your finance office, the human resources office. So things like payroll, accounts payable, purchasing, and just other daily operations. The budget for administration is $1.5 million, has 7 employees, which is the city manager, city clerk, deputy city clerk, comptroller, finance clerk, and receptionist. We've got $90,000 for legal fees budgeted, which is pretty much our 3-year average. And then we have a capital outlay line item for $535. If the council decides to renovate part of the building, that is where that is. In addition, under administration is $533,000 for the matching funds that go to those grants that we receive. For our police department, the city has an interlocal agreement with the Hancock County Sheriff's Department to provide the personnel for our police. This agreement's been in place since July of 2012. The city is responsible for providing all equipment while the sheriff provides the personnel. Our officers also provide additional services such as house checks while residents are away, business checks during overnight hours, as well as fingerprinting services and well-being checks for residents. Since October 1, our officers have responded to over 15,000 calls in Diamondhead. Their budget is just over $1 million. It represents 6% of the fund of our budget. There's 12 contracted officers in the interlocal agreement. One's a captain. We have an investigator, 10 officers, and an administrative assistant who we share with the sheriff's office. The interlocal agreement basically cost us $865,000 for the personnel. We do have a couple items for capital outlay. We buy 2 cop cars a year, basically to flip the fleet every 5 years. Radar signs, we were going to go from 1 to 3, so there's two radar signs in there that are solar, as well as some other equipment purchases such as tasers for $91,000. Planning and zoning, those duties are assigned under the building official. There's 7 volunteers who serve on the Planning and Zoning Commission. The department receives and processes the zoning applications, administers zoning ordinances, ensures zoning compliance within the city of Diamondhead. The building department does code enforcement, issues all kind of permits, building, electrical, plumbing, pool, fences, etc. They do all the building inspections, review construction plans for compliance, floodplain management, and business privilege licenses. Since October, they've issued 594 permits. There's been 72 new single-family home building permits pulled, and they've done 2,700 inspections, in addition to 390 code enforcement complaints since October 1. They're busy. Some subdivisions that are in development. The one, Deer Crossing, has 11 lots. That's in final plat under consideration tonight by the council. That's 11 lots. Diamondhead Lakes Phase 1 is 47 lots. The preliminary plat's been approved, and it's under construction. The Preserve Phase 1 is 23 lots. Preliminary plat approved and under construction. The Preserve subdivision Phase 2, 25 lots. Sketch plat's been approved. Their engineer is working on design. The MDGA LLC subdivision, 76 lots. Sketch plat's been approved. The engineer is working on design. And finally, Diamondhead Lakes Phases 2 through 7 is an additional 165 lots. That sketch plat's been approved. I don't believe they've started engineering, but that's the next phase for them. So we've got a lot going on in our building department, as you can see. Some other developments that to note is our medical office building. It's a 20,000 square foot commercial building. It's Memorial Hospital. You'll see it under construction on the corner of Veterans and East Aloha. In addition, the condos that are basically 2 buildings with 4 condos in each one, that's on Golf Club Lane. That's under construction. And finally, the Beehive Assisted Living Facility. It's a 9,000 square foot, basically large house off of Kapalama. Those plans are under review right now. The budget for our building department is right on $500,000, so $496,000. For next year, we're budgeted 5.5 employees. There is an increase in staffing. So we have the building official, we have 2 inspectors, the building clerk, a development coordinator doing planning and zoning, and a part-time code enforcement person. We have consulting fees in the budget for $82,000. A big chunk of that is Orion Planning to rewrite our zoning code, which is the next step after the comprehensive plan process. And finally, engineers that we hire to do plan reviews when we have subdivision or other commercial developments is budgeted for $40,000. And again, that represents 3% of our budget. Public Works is one of our largest budgets. They're responsible for the overall appearance of the city, including grass cutting, drainage, streets, litter control, signage, and just also facilitating city-sponsor events. Their budget is right at $2 million, or 11% of our budget. There's 18 employees. We have the director, 2 supervisors, a mechanic, 13 workers, and a clerk. Street light and irrigation. So all those street lights you see out there cost us $199,000 a year. So when we get a request, it's me who goes out and actually looks at it because I know that bill is going to be $14.50 every month going forward. Engineering is budgeted at $127,000. That's generally for paving and drainage projects. And we've got capital outlay for paving for $300,000 plus the extra $240,000 from the Mississippi Infrastructure Fund. We have drainage projects at $100,000 in the general fund plus the $4 million from American Rescue. We have land acquisition at $100,000 and mobile equipment other for $151,000. That's basically buying new equipment. Under economic development, that can be defined as a program, group of policies, or a set of activities that seeks to improve the overall well-being or quality of life for a community by creating and/or retaining jobs that facilitate growth and provide stable tax base. This represents a little under 1% of our budget, $126,000. There's no employees in our economic development department. It really has all of our city events and promotions for $52,000, and we've got a lot of consulting in there for our lobbyists at $48,000. NG Consulting at $12,000 is budgeted. SMPDD for grant writing and other grant writing for another $10,000, and also setting up a Main Street network organization for $3,000. Obviously, we have a lot of city-sponsored events that our residents have grown to love. I won't list them all, but they're in there. We have also allocated a big chunk of money to other organizations that serve our residents and our community, such as American Red Cross, CASA. The library itself is the big one that we help fund and our residents enjoy. Hancock Human Resource Center, which is the senior center. So you can see things that our residents use that we want to support and our council asked to dedicate some funds to. Under debt service, that's basically our liabilities. We have 2 currently, and we have a proposal for another one for next year. Obviously, there's the City Hall building, which is our largest one, but we're in payment 8 of 15 on the building you're in. We have a vehicle or equipment lease purchase, which we'll set up for the first payment this year. And then we have a new lease purchase for equipment set up in the budget for next year for Public Works. Total debt service payments is only $194,000 a year. That's all of our debt. Mississippi Infrastructure Modernization Act. This goes back to basically the internet sales tax. That was created in 2018. We get 2 payments a year, January and July. We were expected to, again, get $175,000. We're seeing that number increase based on the amount of people purchasing from Amazon and other online services. So we're expecting $240,000. We dedicate all of that towards street paving. Then we have the American Rescue and Recovery Fund. This is the money that the Congress allocated earlier this year to each city, each county, each state. Ours came in and we received the first deposit, a few weeks back for $989,000. And we'll get a second one a year from now for the same. So the city basically coughed up $22,000 to bring that to a clean $2 million. And then the county has offered and agreed to match us on drainage projects of $2 million. So we'll allocate all of that towards our drainage, gives us $4 million to improve drainage over the next couple of years. Just some other projects that are under the works. Hopefully we'll be getting authorization to bid the first phase of East Aloha improvements, which is basically curb-to-curb gutter work, so the parallel parking, the street work, drainage, things like that. And then we'll come back with the sidewalks in phase 2. We've got the town center roads, which we hope to break ground by the end of the year on phase 1 for that. We've got the waterfront access at the end of Noma Drive, which we're about to go to permitting, and then hopefully again under construction before year end. Montjoy Creek, the engineer needs to get his boat and do some hydrographic work. I'll let Nancy make sure I use the right terms. To basically determine where are the high spots in Montjoy Creek and what we need to remove, and we have to add that to the permit. That is a restoration project as well as an access point, and it's $800,000. And obviously the dog park is something else we're working very hard on for our residents. Other projects that are in the progress is the zoning code rewrite, which I referenced in the building department. That'll take 8 to 10 months with Orion Planning. The Gateway Master Plan is about 30% complete. Wayfinding, Navigation, and Implementation Master Plan, we received a grant for $75,000 to help us fund that master plan. So land acquisition for right-of-way for future roads needs to be done. The I-10 exit improvements by MDOT, that's $6.9 million. They're in land acquisition at the four-way stop to put a roundabout in that spot, as well as other improvements at the exit. Street paving phase 4 will be included in next year. The City Hall ADA compliant parking lot, which is out here in front of us. MEMA and FEMA mitigation grants is something we're working hard on, and as well as starting up a Main Street Association. Under drainage, several of the projects that are currently being worked on and more to come. But we have the Turnberry Drainage Phase 2 is under work right now. Sub-basin Drainage A was also given to Covington Engineer to work for us. It's about 450 acres of our city that's draining all into Montjoy Creek. There's land acquisition that we'll be working on for drainage, basically permanent green space, trying to find wet lots that we really don't want people to build on. Makiki drainage is under works. Colo Court drainage I should have by the end of the week. Hilo Street drainage, we're bidding hopefully tonight. And dredging detention ponds. All of those are actually in works right now, and then we're going to be putting more out there based off the Wagon report as we move forward. And that will conclude the public hearing, and if the mayor wants to ask and take any questions.
Any questions to my left? Now I'm going to start with the council, then we'll move to the public. You're good? Any questions to my right? Councilman Finley, any questions?
No, ma'am. Good, very thorough job, Mike. Thank you.
Councilman Marr?
No.
Thank you. Is there any public comments from the audience? Anyone here want to get up and have a public comment about the presentation? This is a public hearing. It's your chance to stand up and ask questions or voice concerns. Is there a taker up here in the front with an LSU face mask on? I think so. Okay, with that being said, And this is like the fourth time we've gone over the budget, and even our ward meeting was about the budget. So we've thoroughly discussed the budget. Outstanding job, city manager, staff, comptroller, excellent job. We're
Yeah,
moving the
Definitely
city.
thank the staff, Kathy and Jeannie, for their hard work.
Jeannie knows those numbers. She does. Thank you. And Catherine, I mean, they do an excellent job. So thank you all very much. We're excited to move forward. A lot of projects going on, a lot of work. Diamondhead is booming right now. With that being said, let's move on to the minutes. Could I get a motion to approve the August 3rd, 2021 regularly scheduled meeting minutes?
I move.
Motion made by Councilman Clark. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Marr. City Clerk.
Goodness. Finley,
Yes.
Morian,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Marr,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes. Resolution 2021-265. A motion to adopt Resolution 2021-057, thereby appointing Mark, man, I'm going to say it, Mark, Besker, Ward 4, to serve as Commissioner of the Diamondhead Water and Sewer District Board of Commissioners to fill an unexpired term beginning immediately and expiring September 29th, 2025. Could I get a motion?
Can I move?
Mhm.
I move.
Motion made by Councilman Clark. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Morian. Any discussion to my left?
I would like to know how to pronounce his last name.
And Mark, you are here tonight. I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you'd like to stand up and let us introduce yourself, and we thank you for taking on this task of being a member on the Water Sewer District Board.
Appreciate the opportunity, looking forward to working with everybody, and it's
Bisecker.
Okay.
I would have never got that one, but thank you, Mark. All right, any questions, Councilman Finley, Councilman Marr?
No.
No? With that, thank you. With that being said, City Clerk.
Ward 1,
Yes.
2,
Yes.
4,
Yes.
at large,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes.
Trying to make it quicker.
Consent agenda. Could I get a motion to approve consent agenda items 4 through 11?
I move.
Motion made by Councilman Finley. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Moran.
Ward
City
1,
Clerk.
Ward 1,
Yes.
2,
Yes.
4,
Yes.
at large,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes. Action agenda item 2021-264, a motion to conditionally approve the final plat of Deer Crossing subdivision by Elliott Homes, subject to submittal of a performance bond and a maintenance bond for a period of 2 years. Could I get a motion?
I move.
Motion made by Councilman Clark. Could I get a second? Second made by the mayor. Any discussion to my left? Any discussion to my right? And we had a public comment to be addressed. Did you all want to come up? Yes.
Tyler Robinson with Elliott Land Developments or Elliott Homes. You want my address?
We have it on the form.
Okay. I just wanted to see if any of y'all had any questions at all for us to address the final plat of Deer Crossing. The agenda says, subject to performance and maintenance bond, which Ron has received today at 1 p.m. and is on file. I also wanted to address the entrance monumentation going in. We're going to be putting a really nice entrance monumentation with brick columns and a 7-foot privacy fence for about 110 linear feet, following a 4-foot farm-like wooden fence with the X's along the way. It's going to be really nice. So I'm just here. If anyone had any questions, we wanted to make sure we were here to address those.
And I saw the renderings. It did look phenomenal.
I have them here. If y'all wanted to put it on public records file too, y'all can have this and keep it.
Oh, okay.
Just to have.
Thank you.
you'll like to see.
And we got everything worked out with the hills? Okay. I guess if you don't mind, I had a few residents email asking me exactly where the subdivision was, and I assumed everyone knew where it was. So if you want to give a brief description of where it is located on Diamondhead West, so we know specifically.
That might be a little tough for me even, right there.
Okay.
I don't know the nearest address, the existing
It's close to
neighbor.
Lalo.
That would be the nearest cross street.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
And this is the first 11 lots.
This is the first 11 lots. Then you would hit the golf cart path that goes right after you finish hole 13, I believe, of the Cardinal course. And then you would succeed to the back half, which would be starting phase 1 of our 47 lot development we're currently constructing back there.
And that'll start the phase 1 through phase 7 of the.
Right.
Okay.
Subsequently, yeah, we're starting on phase 1 right now, but then we'd have to go through approval process of getting re-engineered drawings and everything for phase 2 through, I believe, 7.
Well, it looks amazing. I went out there and looked. I mean,
Yeah, appreciate that.
great, and we're excited to see the entrance.
Yep.
Tyler, can you just give the types of houses you're building, price range?
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, we'll put that on public record. So it's going to be our Adrian collection. We're looking at a price range of around $300,000 to $350,000 for those front 11. The remaining phases are going to be very similar to this. It's going to have all the homes are going to be the same, anywhere from 1,600 square feet all the way to 2,200 square feet of the homes. It's not our MO ever to create. I don't know how many of y'all have seen our renderings, but our homes, there is no such thing as cookie cutter in our homes. We allow our buyers to fully go through a process of building their semi-custom premium homes, is what we call them. So we think that they're very, very much so fitting. We think that $300,000 to $350,000 price point is certainly in harmony with the surrounding area.
I drove through there the other day. It's looking really nice back there, really nice. I did see the drawings on it today. On the right-hand side, I don't know if it's lots, maybe 10, something like that. I was noticing all
11.
your wetlands.
Yes, sir.
Starts with your 11, right? And then you have the common ground right there.
That's right. If you're driving into the development, the first lot would be lot 11 on your right.
Right.
Yeah.
And the very next one, I noticed the wetlands. It doesn't look like there's much of a yard for that house going to be built there. What is the area? I mean, the wetlands looks like it takes over half of that lot up.
We re-permitted for a smaller section of that lot 11 to make sure that we are good to go and not encroaching on any wetlands. But the silt fencing that you see, that's the extent of the boundary of that's the staked wetlands, making sure we don't proceed in there. And we're going to be putting a jasmine, which is one of our smaller meaning 1550 square footage on that lot, and it does fit.
Yeah. Okay. It looked like that wetland was taking most of that lot.
Yeah,
up, so
it does. It was tight, but
maybe a two-story house or something.
It certainly fits. It'll still be up there a little bit more in price. That one I'm not sure on, but the other ones are Adrian collection, so it'd be the 300 to 350.
Either way, like I said, I was very impressed when I drove through there. It looked really nice. Is it okay for people to just drive up in there and look at that?
I sure appreciate that, you saying that. We thought about actually putting up some form of temporary gate, actually, simply because we have existing materials, a lot of copper and bronze that's sitting in the back and a lot of people unfortunately drive around. I'm not saying any fine residents of Diamondhead would do that, but some of our
No,
other
we
developments
wouldn't.
across the coast, there are some individuals that do that. So we were considering doing that, but the public is free to stroll around. We would like to say, we had noticed a lot of folks driving golf carts through. And we may, once we start production on the homes, it may become more, difficult to drive through there. I'm not even sure why people were driving golf carts through there, right? But either way, once we build our sidewalk, it'll be a 5-foot sidewalk on the north side of the property. So that'll eliminate that.
Okay, so your entranceway on the right going into it, that's where you're going to have like the name of your subdivision or whatever. I mean, is that in the resident's yard right there, or is that y'all's
We
property?
actually worked that out with the resident. He, the individual there, him and his wife it extends into his yard because that's where the right-of-way exists, actually, because the way his home was situated was, I don't believe, quite proper and correct. I know Ron can speak to this a little bit if y'all need him to, but the point is the homeowner wanted that because it's going to be a privacy fence for him. So when cars come in and their lights, he wanted the fence there. It's a nice brick fence, and then it turns into a 7-foot wooden fence along his entire property. And he was worried about it maybe messing with his property value, but we don't foresee that problem at all. And we spoke with him numerous times, and he's on board.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yes, sir.
Like I said, great job over there.
I did receive an email from the resident that lives there this afternoon. I'd sent one earlier to make sure that they were fine before I voted tonight. I wanted to make sure they were.
Absolutely.
And they were fine, so I have an email saying that they were fine, that Mr. Jones worked with them, and
Okay.
everything was fine with that.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And the golf carts, we ride golf carts all over, and the curiosity of the street being there, we're just,
Yeah.
We automatically want to, and then if you're on the cart path in the back, it just draws, you don't want to go to the left.
Yeah. I understand
I
that.
don't know what to say. I'm probably guilty of it
I
myself.
wasn't,
No.
I wasn't in my golf cart, I was in my Jeep. I just want to clear that.
He was in the Jeep. I was in the golf cart, I admit.
That
We
guy.
go deer.
Yeah.
Any questions, Councilman Finley, Councilman Marr?
No.
No?
No.
All right. Well, thank you. And thank you all for
Thank you all.
investing in Diamondhead. With no further questions, City Clerk.
Finley,
Yes.
Moran,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Marr,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes. Claims payable. Motion to approve payroll payables APPKT 01569 in the amount of $48,891.37. PR claim 092 in the amount of $29,875.60. PR claim 093 in the amount of $29,642.41. And PR claim 094 in the amount of $2,696.22. Could I get a motion?
Move.
Motion made by Councilman Moran. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Clark. City Clerk.
Finley,
Yes.
Moran,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Marr,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes. Could I get a motion to approve the docket of claims DKT 158719, DKT 158754, in the amount of $110,325.16?
Move.
Motion made by Councilman Finley. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second.
Second made by Councilman Marr. City Clerk.
Finley,
Yes.
Moran,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Marr,
Yes.
and Mayor.
Yes. Could I get a motion to accept department reports, July 2021 financial reports, code enforcement report, police department report, privilege license report, and the building department report?
I move.
Motion made by Councilman Clark. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Moran. City Clerk?
Finley,
Yes.
Moran,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Marr,
Yes.
and Mayor.
Yes. City Clerk, is there any public comments on a non-agenda item? No one has signed up. Mr. Derek Cusick,
No reason for executive session.
thank you. With that being said, is there any other business that needs to be brought forth before the council? Could I get a motion to adjourn?
I will move.
Motion made by Councilman Clark. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Moran. City Clerk.
Finley,
Yes.
Moran,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Marr,
Yes.
and Mayor.
Yes. Thank you all for coming tonight.